Passion Harvest. Hello, passionate listeners. Welcome to Passion Harvest, where we try to inspire you to live a passionate life. I'm Louisa, your host, International Passion Ambassador, and thank you for making me a part of whatever you are doing right now. And if you like this episode, please subscribe. So, I'm a bit starstruck today. I have an incredible guest on the show. A year ago, or a bit over, I read one of her books and it blew me away. And if I knew a year ago that I'd be interviewing this incredible woman, I wouldn't believe it. So her name is Griscom. And if you don't know who she is, Chris is a global spiritual leader, visionary, and advocate for humanity, and a leading world authority on reincarnation. Chris's lifelong work has been to elevate human consciousness through conscious technology, advancing all mankind as global cosmic citizens. Chris Griscom has founded several institutions that focus upon the uplifting of humanity and its role as guardians of our world, including the internationally acclaimed Light Institute of Galisteo. I hope I said that correctly, and it's on my bucket list. Chris has authored many books that have been translated around the world on subjects of high consciousness and human potential. This is her story and this is her passion. Chris Griscom, welcome to Passion Harvest.
How fun it is to be with all of you and to know that we're going to hopefully elevate our sense of passion, because that's what it is to be alive.
How wonderful. I'm so excited. I won't say it again, but I'm so excited you're on the show. I know I've given you so many questions and I don't know where to start, but I guess a lot of people might like to know about you and a little bit about your journey and how you got to the incredible place and space that you are at this point in time that we're speaking.
You know, Louisa, I would say it's irrelevant, my story. And that story doesn't just begin with our birth. It begins through the echo of infinite incarnations that seem to bring us to certain points or opportunities for our evolution. And so what I would say is that each one of you have your own story. What is, I think, powerful is where I am today and where all of us are today and how we want to use life. One thing I would say is that I've had 6 near-death experiences. I've spent a lot of time in my life dealing with death, and death has been a great teacher to me. And so I have learned, talking about passion, something that my own higher self always says, which is use life. Use life. Use whatever is there and orchestrate it in such a way that it helps you to continually expand your sense of self, and not sense of self personally, but your sense of self as a part of the oneness of our world and all the worlds.
Incredible answer. Why are we here?
Well, let me first give a little giggle to that and say we're not accidents. Okay. We have come through the power of our soul's consciousness to incarnate, to reincarnate, to, again, evolve the soul. And that isn't it's not a religious thing. It's a deep, deep part of our essence. And so we're here, actually, all of us that are here on the planet right now are here because we're not beginners at all. We've been here many times. And so we have orchestrated this drama that we have going on right now that's been echoed through human history. And we're here right now to make that catapultic leap, to change what it is to be human, to change the reality structure that we have on this third dimension so that it expands and allows us to pull, to magnetize from the invisible worlds the answers to what needs to be changed. We need to change our economy. We need to change our bodies. Right now, I'm working on a book that's called Potential Body, Helix of Enlightened Health. And it's really about, how can we use our bodies? We see people doing incredible things with their bodies. What do you want to do with your body? Is it your destiny to get a virus? And how could you use that? Or not? Or live to be 300 years and use life in a different way. And so I think, why are we here? Because we chose to be here. And we have, each one of us, within us, incredible intelligence and wisdom and potential to offer something into this world, whether it's simply the beauty of your heart, or your capacity to again, expand your belonging, your sense of purpose in this world.
And then I guess my question is, from your perspective or your belief, obviously there is no beginning and there is no end, but is there a point in time when we reach, I mean, some people call it enlightenment, other people call it different things. Is there a point in time when we don't reincarnate anymore into the physical?
No, that I would say, having worked in the field of reincarnation for more than 66 years, imagine what I have discovered. There will always be reincarnation, because when we pass from our bodies, we take to the unmanifest elements of potential that we have experienced into the unmanifest. And so if we did not come back from the unmanifest, the whole universe would fall on itself. There has to be manifestation. So we may not always incarnate as humans. We may not always incarnate on planet Earth, but we will always come back into form so that there is an evolution. And that evolution is part of our cosmos. It's part of our many universes. And so it's important to realize that this is not your only try.
Yes.
We have many incarnations of the soul, and each time we polish that soul, and we can do no wrong, so to speak, on that level, that we are always evolving.
So we're all always moving forward to a greater sense of love in every aspect. We don't regress.
No, we don't regress. We sometimes we might spend a number of lifetimes on one theme, what we call at the Light Institute. What is the theme that you're working on? Is the theme how to love and be loved? Is the theme to express your power? You know, there are infinite themes, and you might take many incarnations to work on that theme, each time from a different perspective. So evolution is not a direct up and down thing. It's a spiraling where we pick up threads from many incarnations, and we utilize it. Even in this lifetime, we pick up threads from every experience that we have. And I would say that enlightenment is a kind of funny word, because from my perspective, working with thousands of people on all levels around the world, each one of us has a point of enlightenment. There is something that you have polished, and that you can use it now, or you need to use it as a base. And so sometimes people say to me, "Are you enlightened?" And I will say, "Of course, I am enlightened. I'm not enlightened about the hologram, but I am enlightened in many terms, in terms of the laws of the cosmos, for example, or some skill, some point of consciousness that I've accrued in this lifetime and many lifetimes, which is true of all of us." So enlightenment is not the end goal. The end goal is the evolution of the soul, and it's eternal.
I won't say, well, we're stuck here forever, because no, I love that. I love that answer. I'd love to talk about it, the hologram in a minute, but I myself have the same belief, but it's a very hard concept to grasp. You talk about, right now and reincarnation. It's all happening now. There's no past, I was in Egypt in, past, or in the 18th century. It's all happening right now.
That's a question that could take us many hours to truly answer. What I would say is that our access to what we call the past, or our access to what we call the future, is always available to us. And we can change, quote, the past. Nothing is frozen. Everything is a part of that evolution. And so, for example, in our incarnational work, when we discover a theme, perhaps 3 or 4 lifetimes that relate to a theme, by clearing and releasing, not holding those lifetimes, but by releasing them, the energy has the impetus to influence our lives and push us again into a quickening of our evolution. So the human concept of time is not exact. at all. And we should release that into the great now. Because at this moment, it's where you place your consciousness that allows you to expand to what someone might say the 18th century or the 25th century, or the 12th dimension or other universes. It's all about how we can extend our consciousness in a way that, again, we can utilize with these bodies, this vehicle of the soul, and in our experience of life now. That's what's important. Not to run away from life, not to hide, not to wish you could get out of body. I early on found that when especially when we're doing a set of sessions called Clearing the Parents, we go to the moment of birth. And about 80% of people at the moment of birth, probably more, will say, oh, wait a minute, I've changed my mind. I don't want to.
Oh.
And
Okay.
we need to be able to say, no, I know I chose this. I want to be here. I've come to give a gift. And so my first book, it was called Time is an Illusion. And it is true.
The last question about time, obviously it's now how we remember it, as you said, so the past, but is that also the same for the future? It's all happening in our memory right now? Future as
well?
The
potential is always there. You see, we are a seed, and we are here to seed generations into the future. The Native American would say, you are responsible for 7 generations into the future. And so how you live your life echoes not only to if you were to have your own children and that legacy, but the legacy of humanity. Because what you think and what you experience and what you feel actually echoes out and influences choices that other people make. So one of my favorite and most powerful words is choice. So we want to be here now. We want to feel, okay, this is what I have at this moment. How shall I use my life? How shall I use this moment? Do I need to extend my consciousness and help the planet? Do I need to nourish myself? Do I need to magnetize to me awakening of energies and consciousness that I've had through many incarnations? It helps us to let go of thinking. I find it humorous that many religions think you're going to go to heaven in the same body you have forever. Right. You're half your mother, half your father. How could you be stuck in one side or the other? We are not eternally females. We are not eternally males. And so there is this pulsing that describes reality at any time.
And then I guess the question some people may ask, obviously you're a world-class expert on reincarnation and healing, I won't say past lives, healing other lives. The question is why? How does it benefit us?
Oh, thank you. I work on scientists, I work on all kinds of people. And sometimes people say, well, I don't believe in reincarnation. I said, oh, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant because I had a divinity school for 16 years. We never used the word belief because it's such a mental concept. It's such a habit. So what I would say is that what is true is that when you want to look at, again, maybe you have a theme of health, and you want to look at a lifetime that's the cause of a disease you have today, and you go into that lifetime, your own higher self will choose a lifetime that's relevant to you at this moment. And what happens when people do this, they say, I don't believe in this. I say, fine, just see what comes up from you, because your emotional body will always choose a story that relates to you now. And so people will say, I couldn't have made that up. I would never have thought to make it up, but now I see why I have these relationships, why this is this way, and this way. So the purpose of it is to clear away the places that were stuck and to open up to a sense of self that's so much more expanded. So we can perceive, again, who we are from a place of strength and a place of belonging rather than separation and the victimization that we're so addicted to. It's very relevant to do incarnational work, but not to hold the lifetimes. But at the Light Institute, and this is very specific to our work, through light, through cosmic law of energy, we erase the lifetimes. And once we erase them, what happens is that the energy from it comes back. And so suddenly, after doing this work, people's life changes, because now they have elements and energies that they have touched on before that can serve them now. I'm a very pragmatic person, really. We have to be able to use it.
Sure. So it's almost like letting go, releasing baggage.
It is, but you know what's very important in terms of the laws of the emotional body. Our emotional body is not just a concept; it's an actual entity. You know, it's an actual being. It thinks, but it thinks emotionally rather than rationally. And the way it functions, the emotional body functions through association and conclusion. That's why it just keeps repeating itself. So when we release baggage, the emotional body would rather that you come back and hold that garbage or find another way to bring it back to you, because the more that you suffer, it creates a biochemical response in your body that your emotional body is addicted to. So just like a child, you have to give it something else. And so when we work, we might look at, okay, what's the cause of some negative thing? You go back to the source of it. Wow, this is what I was doing there. We release that. But then we must come around the hologram and look at something that rebalances that. You know, that brings you to a place that instead of judgment or beating your chest, oh, I did it wrong. Never mind. Come to a place where you were able. Let's say you were a victim someplace. You want to come to another experience of the soul when you use your consciousness in a powerful way that served you and your embodiment and the world around you. That's how the emotional body needs. That's what it needs in order to evolve.
Fantastic, fantastic. I'm just trying to digest everything you've said there. And you've talked about the hologram a few times during this conversation. We live in a hologram. Is that what you're saying? We create our reality around us, or everything is a mirror? Many people have different ways of putting it.
Yes, yes. Well, I would say that a hologram, you know, if you imagine a circle, that's kind of a hologram, only if that circle has diagonal energies that touch from this corner to this corner, but not just across the circle, but deep down in to infinity. So a hologram includes all that's there and all the potential. And that's the fascinating thing. So when I talk about the hologram, I'm talking about a hologram from a cosmic perspective. For example, the major theme of our intensives this year is called universal destiny. So think of yourself. Could you imagine that you are a part of a universe or a cosmic energy, that your body could be a body that's different than your human body? That would be a hologram, a holographic perspective that could influence your sense of self and expand you from that old idea we just must survive, you know, the emotional body. I just have to win. I have to survive. No, your soul will always survive. And so you can afford to expand and pull to you, magnetize to you energies that can change everything about you and the world around you.
That's such a big topic and theme at the moment, you know, creating your reality and manifesting, you know, abundance and everything that you want. Would you mind just explaining that a little? Sorry. The problem, what did you say?
We struggle with the concepts, you know, they are true, but they tend to have that kind of energy that, well, if something isn't perfect, you did it to yourself. Well, yes, but that's not holographic. That's too linear, you know. We participate through our conscious choice and our unconscious choices in everything that we magnetize. And we magnetize even negative things to us to help us to move through that, to use that and to go on to a faster and higher energy. So yes, we create our reality, but we don't want to have that concept from a perspective of sort of, it's your fault, or you're to blame if it's not perfect. Because for me, if you're alive, it's perfect. It's perfect. You're doing what you designed for yourself. Now, how to use life every moment. At my school, I would say to my students, speak your truth, but know that tomorrow your truth will change because you have grown. You've expanded. Yes.
So if someone wants to attract something different in their life or change their life, how does one do it? In simple,
there's so many ways to do it.
In a few sentences.
We have what we call exercises in consciousness. And so we use our consciousness, our capacity to imagine, to intuit something, and then receive it as if we already had it, for example. Mm-hmm. The most important thing is to honor that you have the courage to change your life, because most people feel that they can't change their life because they look out at the world and they think, I can't change the world, or I can't change my partner. You can always change you. You can always change you. And you do that. You talk about passion. Passion is a wonderful way to magnetize to yourself, because what happens when you're passionate about something, when you're creating or you're doing something, you forget the limitation of the self, and the expansion of your consciousness goes, what about that? And I could do this and this other thing. And that kind of consciousness, it magnetizes, is a great magnet, and it magnetizes to you elements, people, situations, moments, synergy that can support whatever it is that you're looking for. Let me give you an example. Maybe you want to amplify your abundance, and your idea of abundance is money. I need more money to do what I want in my life, especially right now on the planet where everyone's losing their jobs, etc. Yeah. An exercise in consciousness that I would give about that would be, close your eyes, take a deep breath into your body, and ask your higher self or your body to show you abundance that you have at this moment. It might be an abundance of friends. It might be abundance of health. It might be an abundance of intelligence or creativity. But focus on some abundance that you have at this moment. Whatever that is, then ask your body where it holds that abundance, because we hold everything within the mind of the self. So imagine, maybe it's in your heart, maybe it's your fingertips, maybe it's your eyes. Imagine someplace in your body that's holding that abundance. Then bring your conscious awareness into that place in your body and prick open the encapsulation and let the energy of that abundance nourish you like food, that it flows through your body and says, oh, look at this abundance I have. I feel abundant. And when you feel that vibration, then you could take that energy, radiate it out from your body and superimpose it, let's say in some aspect, let's say superimpose that abundance onto, I need more money right now. And just imagine, however you imagine, that abundance that you have is causing this miracle of financial abundance. And then you just let it go and open your eyes. So you see, you come from a place of, I already have something, and you take, everything is about energy. You take that energy and you place it where you need it. And then you let go, and it's miraculous how suddenly you meet someone, you're in the right place at the right time, something comes to you, you get an idea, and your life changes. That's how it's done. It's really simple.
It's simple, but it's hard. And I guess, our mind thinks all the time. So once you let it go into the ether or to the astral, to the universe, you just let it go and don't think about it anymore?
No, you can repeat it in a different way. Another exercise for that would be, what color, what frequency of light do I need to feel abundant? Because the more you feel lack of abundance, the more you create that. Because your thought form says, I'm never going to have it. And so you block yourself. But if you say, what frequency of light do I need to have abundance at this moment? And then you draw that in. So it's all about nourishing yourself energetically, or someone else. And you pull that color into your body, because light is the essence of the cosmos. So when you pull that color in, it will start to change your mind and change your consciousness. And so then you begin to relax and you're not so anxious. You could do that every hour throughout a day if you wanted. It would continually free you from, I won't get it, I can't have it, it's not going to happen. You don't need that. That doesn't help you. It doesn't help you. So you have to choose to use your consciousness and your energy in a way that supports you. And when you start going, for example, maybe you can tell us, Louisa, what kind of abundance did you have at this moment? You know, what kind did you have?
Oh, okay. I'm now. Look, now you're the interviewer. Okay. I have an abundance of love. I have children. I'm financially stable. I, live in a beautiful house.
Yes.
And I have this incredible platform called Passion Harvest. So I am very abundant.
Yes, you are. And because you are, and because you're doing this program, you are seeding what the Native American says, 7 generations into the future. You are seeding that sense of abundance, because that's what passion is. It's a very abundant kind of energy. It's an expansive energy. You are seeding that all the way around you. So the more that you look around in your life and you say, wow, I have this and I have this and I have this, then any place that's not abundant will be filled with those other things. And so you change the structure. You can change the structure of your body that way. Fantastic. You are a gift, Louisa.
Well, you are a gift, Griscom. That's a lovely way to look at it. And the thing I love about passion is it's almost like childlike. So, and it raises your vibration because you're happy and you're excited. So I guess that also segues me onto this current climate and cycle of fear and how that lowers your vibration, if you wouldn't mind just discussing that briefly.
I would love to discuss that, because one of the things that I've talked about in this book I'm working on, and I'm also sending out little free 3-minute blurps around the world about, how to fix your body and this and that. And one of the things that I'm talking about is exactly that. Science teaches us that the human vibration, normal vibration, is 62 to 78 megahertz. Mm-hmm. And so if you've got to keep your megahertz, your electromagnetic energy, up that high. And if you do, then you will be fine. You can't get a virus. What's interesting is that from 62 to 62 megahertz, you drop into the vulnerability of a virus or a cold or a flu. One of the ways that I talk about all the time is spinning around like a child. Children love to spin around, but you must spin around to the right, because you want to spin out your energy. You in the southern hemisphere, the world is spinning counterclockwise, but you still have to spin clockwise to expand who you are, and that will increase your megahertz and help you to be, again, expanded in your consciousness, healthy in your body, creative and passionate. And so I use essential oils. I love the kinds of things you have in Australia to increase your vibration. But when we spin around, it allows us to bring us into a meditative state like a child. Children love to spin around. I always say, if you have a child that's acting out, take them by their hands and spin around with them. And one thing you'll notice is that you can't be angry. They won't be angry. You'll start laughing. Life is good.
That's lovely.
We have to increase our megahertz. Yeah.
So I'm just interested, and I think I'm going to get these questions. Why only to the right and not to the left?
Yeah. Because it's like centrifugal force. Centrifugal force, when you spin to the right clockwise, it spins out from you. So it stretches out your auric field. When you spin counterclockwise, you're spinning in. That's the balance of the earth. That, down under, you're spinning counterclockwise, we're spinning clockwise, so we fit together. the Sufis that spin and spin and spin, they're spinning counterclockwise because they're spinning God into them. They're not thinking about an emotional body. They're not thinking about their auric fields. They're spinning, they are consciously spinning the divine into them. That's why they spin counterclockwise. But you and I, we want to spin out so that we're, if you're afraid, you're contracted. Fear is a very slow contracting energy. So if you're feeling fear and you open your arms and you spin around just till you get dizzy, which may be just 2 cycles or more, it will free you from your fear. It will quicken your frequency. And now that we're beginning to have all these, 5Gs, 4Gs and 5Gs, that's influencing the electromagnetic energies on the planet, and it's causing diseases. What's the answer to that? Because it's probably going to happen whether we like it or not. Scientists are warning the world and saying, this is terrible, don't do it, and we're doing it anyway. So the answer for you and me is to quicken our frequency, to get up there in a faster frequency so we can handle the radiation.
Keep spinning to the right. Spin to the right.
Keep spinning to the right until you get a little dizzy, and then bring your thumbs in front of you and look at your thumbs so you don't fall down. The idea is not to fall down.
And how many times a day, or just when you feel you need to raise your vibration? Okay.
When I first used to have to give talks, I was terrified because I was trying to be in my mind instead of in my consciousness. And so I would go into these little bathroom stalls, these little tiny stalls, and I would spin around. And that would cause me to drop into a meditative state. That's why children like to spin, because they're always in the alpha. And so in that state, they have an expanded consciousness. They're not anxious. And so it's a great way to get rid of anxiety and fear. So whenever you feel like it, if you're tired, by the way, or you have to go to bed, but your mind is on, what do I have to do tomorrow? Spin around a little bit. It will put you to sleep.
Oh, I'm going to start spinning. I love that. I just wanted to ask you, obviously you can't memorize what you have to say, but how do you speak from your higher consciousness in an honest and open way? 1, not getting nervous, but 2, how do you just express yourself?
That's a wonderful, wonderful question. If you have a second, I'll tell you a story.
Sure.
From the time I was a little child, my mother died at birth, but then she came back. And she used to psychically say to me, when I die, tell them this. So at her funeral, because I had begun public speaking, and I always had the first paragraph or the first sentence. Once I had the first sentence of what I was going to say, then I could just let go and it would come. So for the first time, I had no first sentence. I couldn't remember what she told me to tell people. And that was my initiation that said, let go of your mind. And what I would say is to meditate beforehand, spin around a little bit and meditate on the people that you're going to speak to. And feel as if from your heart and from your sense of connecting with them, that's how you're going to speak to them. And what you say is irrelevant. Louisa, that if you let go of, I have to give you this message, you must understand it. If you let go of that and just know that you're going to transmit. I used to give a course called Transmission. If you're just going to transmit an energy that inspires or informs, that's enough. And so you have to switch your perspective of what you're doing there. And that's what makes it easy so that you're not anxious about it.
And that's funny because
it comes from really trusting yourself. A good exercise in consciousness for that would be to remember a time when you gave a great social media event. You gave a great interview, you did something. Remember that, ask your body where it holds that memory, and then let that energy of being successful flow through you. And at the same time, let the memory go. So it's not tethered to that memory, but inside you, you have this sense of, yes, I know how to do this. And that will release your anxiety.
Thank you for sharing that. That's great. And, a lot of people write the most beautiful poetic speeches and say, I have to say those words, but it doesn't really matter about the words. So it's the intention. In the essence of time, I'd briefly like to talk about, you mentioned you have 4-day workshops. I think you have one in Germany and Greece, which sound quite incredible for people that are interested. Would you mind just explaining briefly what happens there?
I would love to. what happens is that we spend 4 days doing incarnational work, looking in other dimensions that will support our lives now and our purpose and our sense of self, and clearing away any debris. And then I am there, of course, and so I work twice a day with people doing exercises in consciousness, and it's life-changing. It's something that we can do for ourselves. The one in Greece is a double header. The first one is 4 days talking about relationships. We need to relate to ourselves in a new way.
That's a big
and
one.
We need to see that how we use a relationship could be completely different. We're not in the past where women had to have men, or men had to have women, or we had these defined roles. We're in a new level, and so we can have soul relationships that bring us more happiness, more passion, more connection. And so I'm really looking forward to the relationship one, and then following that will be this one that is universal destiny. And universal destiny helps us to have a sense of ourselves, having chosen to be in life in the midst of all this drama, not because we're victims of it, but because we have something to offer. Maybe what you have to offer is the smile you give to someone, or a word you give to someone that makes them feel safe. There's so many ways to use life, you know. And so, but this universal destiny allows us to imagine the universe and how our consciousness could be a part of it. Many bodies that we've had. One of the things that I love about incarnational work is that looking at a different lifetime, you may have had a lifetime as a male and had different qualities, you know, or a female, or a body that wasn't human. I love the pictures of your animals behind you. One of my passions is the natural world. And I have some beautiful pictures that someday I'll do a book from called Rock Spirits. And I have a fantastic dragon from Australia. It's a perfect dragon. And so we can relate to animals. We can relate to different levels of life that can inspire us and can make us feel that we belong, or that we are loved, or that we can be connected. And that's what's so delicious about life.
Well,
so the intensives are, we get together someplace, we do about 3 hours a day, you personally with a facilitator, and you have these wonderful explorations by yourself. And then you have meditations with me and chats with me and practices of consciousness with me. We all eat together, and they're fantastic. I love them.
How wonderful. I'm definitely coming one day, and I'm really excited about that. It's interesting you met it, you know, they sound amazing. Actually, I had a guest on the show the other day that said, "Oh, your animals are so interested in what we're talking about."
Yes, exactly. I kind of feel the same way.
So
they're kind of coming out from behind you. Absolutely. And people often say when I am working that the room is crowded, because again, from many dimensions, there is consciousness that not only guides us but inspires us. We're not alone on any level. And so, but this is a time when we really must continue to evolve as quickly as possible. And we at the Light Institute, we work on ourselves at least 3 times a year. So it's, you know, we would never think of giving you an intensive about the universe or about relationship if we hadn't done it on ourselves first. And that's what makes it so much fun.
Great, fantastic. Chris, it's been such, I mean, I could talk, you know, with you for weeks, but it's been such a delight to have you on the show. Is there anything else you'd like particularly to express to our audience before we wrap up?
Yeah, I would like to say to all of you, I know it's a difficult time, but it's a time that we as a soul group have chosen. That's why we're here together. And we have chosen to change what it is to be human, how we care about each other, how we manifest, how we live. There should be no one who is hungry. There should be no one who is suffering diseases. Diseases are illusion of our lack of awareness. And so what I would say to you is, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't say, well, I'm afraid because. Instead say, I know that I'm here to be the answer. I am part of the solution. You are part of the solution. So the more that you can be peaceful. I love meditation. I love being in nature, because if you are peaceful, you are not afraid. If you're not afraid, you can be peaceful. If you are peaceful, you have something to offer, which is your true self. And so just know that we're going to get through this together, and it's going to change who we are. We are a soul family, and my heart extends to all of you. I carry you in my heart.
I'm feeling the love. That was beautiful. Griscom, thank you so much for being on Passion Harvest. It's been such an honor and a delight, and I can't wait to share this interview with the audience and the world. So thank you so much.
Oh, it's truly my honor, and truly, truly, what a gift you give to the world by doing this. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.